5 years. Advances in meteorology have helped reduce the risks, but for sailors who take to the sea in small boats, freak lightning storms are still threatening their lives. Morgan Wells, an experienced yachtsman, was taking his family and friends out for what should have been a short trip around the Chesapeake Bay. It was a perfect day for boating, sunny and calm. Just before setting off, Morgan listened to the weather forecast. There was a slight chance of rain, but nothing he heard would prepare him for what was to come and the terrible pain he would suffer. 7 miles away, a potentially deadly weather system was forming. Within 5 minutes, his whole crew would be at its mercy. Just a quarter of a mile from the shore, the temperature dropped 30 degrees. The sky turned black. Morgan and his friends were in the center of a rare but deadly weather system, a microburst.
Well, microbursts are defined to be only a few miles or kilometers across, and they only last a few minutes. For ships and for aircraft, the winds will first come from one direction, and then as it passes over or you fly through it, the wind actually comes with equal speed from the other direction of 75 or 100 miles an hour. So it makes a very, very complex, difficult situation.
As we approached Greenberry Point here with all the towers, these huge towers, there was a tremendous amount of cloud-to-ground lightning, which is a bit shocking, to say the least. It was more than I'd really ever seen in all the storms I'd ever been in.
Even the National Weather Service was caught off guard. By the time they issued the first warning, it was too late. Visibility was already down to 0, and lightning was flashing all around Morgan's boat.
Then the last thing I saw was the windshield exploding in front of my face. A brilliant flash of blinding light turning yellow and orange, and the windshield just, being blown out. And out went the lights. My sight was largely gone because my eyes were hemorrhaged. It was like looking through a rust stain or whatever. The other sensation was hearing. It sounded like someone was playing with the radio dials. All this frequency, this high squealing, and what I thought was, we're all gonna die, Daddy's dead, Daddy's dead.
The small boat had taken a direct hit, destroying the radio and most of the electronics. With no way of calling for help, they were heading deeper into the microburst. Almost blind and barely able to hear, Morgan managed to push the throttle forward and drove the boat onto the nearest beach.
I remember choking. I knew I was hurt really bad. I kept putting my hand on my head, thinking I'd put my hand into my head. That's what I thought I would, and I knew I was bleeding, and I knew I was hurt pretty bad. I started running to the right, towards that big house. That was the only house I saw. And a lightning bolt strikes not but 100 yards, or maybe even less. And that stopped me cold.
Dodging the lightning bolts, one of his crew ran to a house and raised the alarm.
I've never been near a thunderstorm that has thrown down that many continuous bolts and in such a very close proximity. And we're not talking about waiting minutes, we're talking about every 10 seconds there was a smash and a crack.
Ron Holly was able to go back through lightning detection records and home in on the microburst that hit the Chesapeake Bay that afternoon.
And we can see the storm come from the northwest. In 10 minutes, the lightning is up to 400 flashes. 10 more minutes, 646 flashes. Within 5 miles and 3 hours of the time of the strike to the boat, there were 1,008 flashes that struck the water and the land right nearby where his boat was.
Out of those 1,000 lightning bolts, one had hit Morgan's boat.
It blew a hole right through the ceiling. So this is a layer of fiberglass, plywood, something you could actually stand on and jump. It was that solid. And it described a perfect hole where the VHF antenna had been mounted. So there was a mounting screws, and very much just like this. So if I'm standing at the wheel, the lightning blows a hole right through here, and its focus then is to here, right to here. And that probably saved my life.
Morgan's injuries were horrific. The lightning exited his body at hundreds of places, giving the appearance of shotgun wounds. His hair was scorched. He was bleeding from the eyes and his eardrums had exploded. It would take 3 operations to restore his hearing and several years to make sense of what had happened.
People say, well, there must have been something about the boat. It was a good ground. It must have been a good ground. What made that boat a good ground? And there was thousands of strikes in a very, very short period of time in a very small area, and it just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
In the summer of 1994, a mysterious and tragic incident on a clear blue day was to upset the experts' understanding of just how far lightning can reach. It was a beautiful afternoon in Colorado, and hundreds of people were out soaking up the summer sunshine. But out of the clear blue sky, nature played a cruel trick.
It happened on a day when there wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was a clear blue sky when, from out of the blue, a bicyclist was struck by lightning. It seemed mysterious to us because where was the cloud from which this lightning originated? This was the first opportunity we thought we had to investigate it, to find out where that cloud was. And to do that, we sought the help of Global Atmospherics in Tucson.
But would Global's system be sensitive enough to pinpoint this mysterious bolt?
We went back and plotted the data for the 3-hour period around the time when this event happened in Vail. If we look here at the screen, we can see the flash over Colorado, and in this case, there was only one flash within 20 miles of this particular location in Vail. This is definitely the one that struck the person.
They found that the single lightning strike in this county